All right, we are going to look at maximums and turnarounds. So when I hear maximum, anything, maximum velocity, maximum position, maximum acceleration, I automatically think two steps. Step one is I got to find the derivative, or when I should say, the derivative of that is equal to 0. Okay, I got to solve for when this is. So t equals something. Once I find that time, then I'm going to plug that time back in to that velocity function, and it will tell me the maximum value. Okay, those are my two steps. Step one, find when the derivative is equal to 0, and then use that time to find the maximum value. And this works for position as well. So if you wanted to find the maximum position, take the derivative of position, set it equal to 0, find the time, and then use that time to find that position. Now, another wording we use for maximums or minimums for that matter, and this is the same pattern you use for max and mins, you just have to test it, is a turnaround point. So in other words, your position might be increasing, and then all of a sudden you decide to turn around. Your velocity switches from positive to negative. So one way to double check to see if you have a max or a min is to look at the second derivative at this point. If it is a second derivative is negative, meaning its concavity is down, you have a maximum. If the second derivative is positive, it's concave up, you have a minimum. Okay. So a turnaround point is a fancy way of saying a maximum position. All right, so let's try one of these. Let's see if we can find the max velocity and the turnaround point for this velocity function they gave me. So they said that the velocity is equal to 20 minus 2t squared plus 4t, and time is in seconds, and velocity will be in meters per second, and it starts at the origin. All right, so if I want to find a maximum velocity, I have to take the derivative of this and set it equal to 0 and find out what time that occurs at. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and find the derivative of it and set it equal to 0. And for those of you thinking along with me here, the derivative of velocity is acceleration. So I'm just finding when is the acceleration equal to 0. So I take the derivative, so I have negative 4t plus 4, and I find out that this occurs at a time of 1 second. I need to then plug that back into my velocity function. So my velocity function, 20 minus 2 times 1 squared plus 4 times 1. The velocity comes out to be 20 minus 2 plus 4. So it comes out to be 22, I believe. Yes, 22 meters per second. All right. Now to find the turnaround point, the point when the position reaches a maximum. Well, I'm going to need to take the derivative of a position function and set it equal to 0. So that means I'm going to have to find when is the velocity function equal to 0. Okay. So what you end up getting here is you get 0 is equal to 20 plus 4t minus 2t squared. You get a quadratic. So go ahead and solve that quadratic. Use your calculator. You get a time of 4.3 seconds. This is what my function looks like, so here is my turnaround point. Okay. Now I need to plug this back into my position function to find the turnaround point, the position at that time. Well, I'm going to need a position function, so in order to get a position function, I have to take the integral of my velocity function to get a position function. Okay, so I have 20t minus 2/3 t cubed plus 2t squared, because it's 4 divided by 2. And then I have plus my initial position, but they told me it starts at the origin, so my initial position is 0. At this point now I need to plug in that 4.3 seconds, and that will give me the turnaround point of being 70 meters about. There we go. So that's how we find max and mins. An easy way to figure out if it's a max or min, just graph it. So here, it's definitely a maximum because it's concave down. I could check that by looking at that acceleration function at 4 seconds. Just to humor you here, I will. So our acceleration function was negative 4t plus 4. And if I plug in a time of 4.3 seconds, if I just imagine it's 4 seconds, for instance, I'll have negative 16 plus 4. I definitely come out with a negative number. Negative means concave down, and that means that I have myself a maximum at that point. All right.